Hey guys, Scott here with a new beer dissection video. I have a nice treat. Unbeknownst to me, I guess my buddy was out over the weekend and picked up some beer and sent my son out to grab it from the refrigerator and didn't realize I have from Schlenkerla, the famous Schlenkerla from Bamberg, Germany, a cherry smoked, and it's called Rotbier, okay? R-O-T, not Rauchbier, which is smoked beer. Rotbier, which means red beer, okay? Now, the big difference, I've been in Bamberg, Germany a handful of years ago when I was out there doing Challenge Roth, Ironman distance triathlon down in Bavaria and Roth, Germany. And Schlenkerla and Spezial are in both, I believe they're both in Bamberg, and they're known for their Rauchbier, which is smoked beer. And they usually smoke the malt with beechwood. Now, Rotbier, which again, if I'm not pronouncing it properly in German, this is R-O-T-B-I-E-R, and you see it there, means red beer. But they're using, again, is a cherry wood smoke now to smoke the malted barley, and it gives a little bit more of a red tinge to the beer. It can kind of give you a little bit of those fruit cherry aromas and flavors, supposedly. I haven't had a Rotbier here in a long time. So again, it sounds like Rauchbier, Schlenkerla, and they use beechwood, and they make a Marzen, a Helles, and I don't think I've done a video on that particular beer before. I could have. I've done over 200 some odd videos, so it could be in my what is style. I'm just not recollecting right now. But this is Rotbier, R-O-T. If I phonetically say, it looks like rot beer, okay, for a cherry wood smoke. And again, this is very popular, obviously, in Bamberg. It's also popular in most of Franconia, in Nuremberg, and places like that. But again, you can see Schlenkerla means, I believe, swinging or dangling Schlenkerla. So again, you may be more familiar with the Rauchbier style from this brewery. All right. This is coming in at, I believe it's only about 4.6% alcohol. And they go through a lot of the history. Red lager, we use mold over fire, cherry wood instead of beechwood. Fruity, smooth aromas, copper red color. I don't usually read the cans too much, but since this is one right from Germany, I thought it'd be nice to just skim through here a little bit. So one of the last. So again, of course, you're going to get a smoke character to it, and regardless of whether it's cherry wood or beechwood. All right. So again, product of Germany. I don't see a canning date on here, but again, most international beers coming over the Atlantic, if we can get something under 4 months, is fantastic. But if it's right in that range, but again, I don't even see a date on there, and I'm not even going to worry too much about it and spend too much time looking for it. All right, guys. So again, they actually do call it. They do at the bottom. Funny, at the bottom of the can, they do say Rauchbier. So again, it is a smoked beer. So I guess it would be a Rauchbier, but since it's red, it's got more reddish tinge. They're calling it a Rotbier, R-O-T beer. All right. So and they have smoked malts. So again, it's still smoked beer. So I'm expecting it's going to be like the typical Schlenkerla Rauchbier, and that's usually spelled R-A-U-C-H, then B-I-E-R, and Rauch means smoke. So again, I don't know, someone that's German or knows the language a little bit better can maybe understand why they're using Rot, which is red, which is, I guess, just a version of a Rauchbier. So again, I hate splitting hairs, which is probably too late now that I've done that. But Rotbier, R-O-T-B-I-E-R, is red beer. Rauchbier is smoked beer. This seems, I guess, to be a little bit more of a hybrid of the two. And again, I never had this one in particular. I've had, thankfully in Bamberg, I got to drink some fresh Schlenkerla Rauchbier, which is great. All right, guys, so let's crack this bad boy open. Okay, maybe a little more than I thought. I was going down a little bit of a wormhole there, explaining it, but I guess it is a little bit of a, semantics a little bit in German, but I'm not a German major. So as I'm pouring this out, it's actually pouring a little bit like the Schlenkerla Marzen style, that amber copper color. I'll show it to you on camera here in just a second. So what we're looking at, nice white and maybe a light tan head, pretty tight, compact bubbles. Short pour. I'm even getting a little bit of that kind of that meringue whipping on top. It looks very nice. The color of this, again, has that amber reddish hue to it, maybe even like a light copper, but since it is a Rotbier, R-O-T beer, meaning red, I guess the cherry wood is giving a little bit more of a reddish tinge there. So I would lean a little bit more towards the amber color than, say, copper. All right, but very clear beer. Really no haze at all to speak of. Let's take a sniff of the aroma. Oh yeah, so you get that smoke right off the top. Ooh, it's nice, rich, dense on the aroma. Like when, even though we don't perceive denseness and aroma, but you kind of gives you that perception. Okay, definitely smoke. And you can definitely tell there's some cherry wood. You burn a regular fireplace or even outdoor fire pit, and you throw a piece of cherry wood in there. And some people smoke their food with cherry wood. I know there's cherry wood bacons and things like that. It kind of gives you that kind of smokiness aroma to it because you kind of get that little bit of that hint of cherry. What I'm expecting if I take some short sniffs, yeah, you get a little bit more of like the cherry comes out front. But without a doubt, there's kind of like a smoke. Very nice, but I love Rauchbier. So since this, again, we ascertained it is a version of Rauchbier because they are using cherry wood smoke versus beechwood smoke in their typical Märzen Helles that they make. Even they make a Bock, I believe, that's smoked with beechwood. But I'm actually enjoying this, I think, even a little bit more than the beechwood smoked one. But as I take in short sniffs, you get a little bit more of that cherry fruit character to it. The longer sniff, you seem to get a little bit more of the smoke hit you a little bit, like you're smelling like a bacon, a smoked bacon, right? But there's definitely some malt there. You kind of get like a toast, light toffee, bread crust, malt character to it. It smells really good, guys. I mean, if you never tried a style like this, whether it's the traditional Rauchbier with the Helles, which is light, the Bock, the Märzen, which are a little darker styles, I would definitely check it out. This one, again, being the Rauchbier, which is red, and like as it's sitting here, it actually looks more red as I'm looking at it. So, again, they're using the cherry wood versus the beechwood. All right, guys, I should say Prost. Oh yeah, wow. When I first took it in, I got hit with smoke, right? That smoky, bacon-like kind of flavor. But then as it kind of faded away in the aftertaste, I'm getting a little bit more of like a cherry. All right, like not like eating Bing cherries during cherry season, but more as if you were smoking your pork and brisket and, on your smoker with cherry wood. You kind of get that little bit hint of a fruity cherry flavor to it. The malt, again, is similar toast, medium toast, graham cracker, bread crust type of aroma. Sorry, I'm getting a little different glaring here. The sun's coming in and out of clouds, so I usually try to minimize that as best as I can. Definitely good medium carbonation, medium bodied. 4-something% alcohol. It is pretty quaffable. Not really heavy at all. There's no alcoholic warmth, which I wouldn't expect when I say at 4.6. So this would be a patio crusher, even though a lot of times people like to interpret slightly amber to, even darker beers that they're heavy. Just like I did the Guinness video, we talked about Irish Stout. People think that it's a heavy beer, but it's actually quite thin. This is kind of a light to maybe at the most medium bodied. This is drinking really good. But you kind of get, again, that smoke up front. And as it kind of fades out a little bit, you get a little bit more of that woodsy cherry kind of flavor. Almost like if you you ever take those chips and just kind of suck on them a little bit. Now, again, those of you that don't know me very well, maybe this is the first video you're watching, I used to do a lot of home brewing. I had to fall off of it a little bit. You get the chips for the home brewing, and you kind of just taste on them and gnaw on them a little bit. You kind of get that woodsy kind of flavor, and especially if you've smoked it a little bit, you get a little bit of the cherry and the smoke to it. So anyway, guys, this is really drinking really nicely. I got to say, I think I've had, when I was in Germany, I believe I had the Rotbier. I definitely had Rauchbier, smoke beer. This, again, is a version. Again, it sounds like I'm playing around with words here, but I never know if it technically was Rotbier, which is R-O-T-B-I-E-R, red beer. Again, really the big difference is what they're smoking it with, cherry wood versus beech wood. This is fantastic. I know the store where my friend got this. I had no idea they had it in there. I'm going to definitely get some more. So anyway, guys, kind of a beer dissection / what is style, what is Rotbier, R-O-T-B-I-E-R. Means red beer. This one's from Schlenkerla, which is a famous brewery in Bamberg. I had the pleasure of I didn't visit the brewery, but I was in the town. I think it was about not even a mile away. Famous for the Rauchbier, R-A-U-C-H, which just means smoke beer. This is a version of smoke beer using cherry wood versus beech wood. Drinking phenomenally well. All right. So again, if you want something with a little smoke, slight fruit with like the cherry notes from the wood, but it has a nice solid malt backbone, almost like you're drinking a Märzen style Oktoberfest beer. And the bitterness, that's one thing I didn't mention. The bitterness is pretty low, kind of low to moderate. You get a little bit of it, but it's almost like the smoke kind of dominates a little bit with the cherry. Listen, grade-wise on this, I have to give it an A+. I enjoy the Rauchbier, which, again, any of the smoked beers. So this being, again, probably a little bit of a tangent off of, or subcategory off of Rauchbier, being Rotbier, being red. There's not many guys brewing this style of beer. They don't, brew many smoked beers locally to me. Not to say there's not brewers out there. I know Alaska Brewing Company has the famous Alaskan smoked porter, but not the most common style. So I can't really compare it to too much domestically. But there are some out there. Definitely throw your comments in on some smoked beers that I should try to keep an eye out for if you live near a brewery that does produce them commercially. So anyway, malty, smoke, almost like, I don't want to say you're eating bacon, all right, but you got to get that smoky flavor. Maybe if you guys do smoke your food, that's kind of what you're getting with a little fruitiness from the cherry. Nice malt backbone there, but not cloyingly sweet. It is drinking kind of dry and kind of light, kind of medium bodied. So you could probably consume a bunch of these around 4. This one was at 4.6, I think I said, yeah, ABV. Highly recommended, guys. So again, guys, last thing from Schlenkerla, looks like it's Weissville. Don't mark my German for pronunciation. Cherrywood smoke, Weitzel, and it's from Rock Malts, which is smoked malt, Rotbier. Okay, I'm sure I had this popping over my shoulder. Definitely check it out. I would recommend it, especially if you like Rauchbier. All right, guys, till next beer dissection video or general beer video, generally, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.